What if you didn't need certainty to move forward? Just curiosity. Welcome to A Cup of Hope, the podcast for women ready to create clarity and confidence in their life and money. I'm your host, Sherry Lynn, a life and money coach and your hope-filled strategist. Each week, we'll talk about the messy middle of life, faith, finances, freedom, and finding your purpose, all with truth, encouragement, and practical tools that you can use today. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to A Cup of Hope. I'm Sherry Lynn, and I'm so glad you're here. January is about creating safety and clarity. Not so we can fix ourselves, but so we can notice who we are becoming. And today, I want to talk about a posture that changed everything for me, especially in seasons when pressure only made things worse. Today's cup of hope is this: curiosity is often more safe and brave than pressure. We're taught that pressure motivates growth, but for many of us, especially those who've lived through fear, trauma, or long seasons of survival, pressure doesn't motivate. It shuts us down. Now, just to be clear, growth does require challenge, but pressure that's constant, overwhelming, or shame-based doesn't build strength. It erodes it. So let's talk about why curiosity matters more than we think. For a very long time, I didn't understand this. Looking back, I'm quite honestly amazed by what I was learning during those years. Teaching methods, classical education, an integrative approach to learning, why some kids struggle with reading and comprehension. That kind of learning was engaging. It made sense to me, and it was in my wheelhouse. At the very same time, other things felt almost impossible. Building a website, understanding email marketing, learning systems that back then required a fair amount of coding and technical language that felt like a foreign language. For years, I told myself something was wrong with me, that I just couldn't learn it. Now, I understand what was really happening. My brain wasn't incapable of learning. It was prioritizing what was familiar, meaningful, and immediately useful. The brain is amazing like that. Under pressure, it doesn't shut down everything. It allocates resources. It leans into what it knows. It avoids what feels unfamiliar, abstract, or risky. So I wasn't failing at learning. I was learning exactly what my brain believed mattered most in that season. So the question became not how do I push harder, but how do I stay present without turning on myself? During that season, I needed something simple to interrupt the fear loops in my head. I had a children's book in my office that reframed anxious what-if thoughts into curious ones. And I even kept a small stuffed animal nearby, not as a teaching tool or as a recommendation, just as a visual reminder. What mattered wasn't the objects. What mattered was the shift they helped me practice. Instead of, what if I fail? What if I can't figure this out? What if this never gets better? I was able to start asking, what if I learn something? What if I try one small thing? thing. What if curiosity is a better option than self-criticism? Curiosity didn't demand answers. It created space. And the space felt more safe than pressure. And I learned this at a deeper level when I became a new coach. Early on, a woman had reached out for a free financial coaching call. My process was to book the session and meet later. But she asked if we could talk right then. She had the time, and I broke my own boundary and agreed. The conversation started out well. I was listening, asking thoughtful questions, and on the surface, everything I was doing was right. But as she shared her story, something in me shifted. You see, she was a widow, no retirement, no life insurance, supporting her adult child, their partner, and baby, and they weren't really working much. I could feel it in my body. Something tightened. What she didn't know, and what I hadn't fully acknowledged, was that I was in my own season of fear. A job I had depended on was ending. Another had just disappeared days before Christmas. I was carrying uncertainty that I hadn't yet processed. So while my questions stayed the same, my posture changed, and she felt it through the phone. Later, she told me she didn't think we were a good fit. When I processed this with my own coach, the clarity came. I wasn't judging her. I was judging myself. And because I was judging myself, I couldn't stay curious with her. That's when I learned this. Curiosity and judgment cannot coexist. We can't fake curiosity when judgment, especially self-judgment, is present. It wasn't the questions, it was the posture. And this is where Scripture gave me language without condemnation. I want to ground us in two scriptures today, one about who you are and one about how becoming actually works. James says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. That phrase matters, without finding fault. God is not threatened by your questions. He doesn't shame you for not knowing. He invites you to ask. That's curiosity. And Proverbs reminds us the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Clarity doesn't come all at once. It grows step by step. That's formation. Once I began to understand this, everything started changing. I stopped measuring my progress by outcomes, well, most of the time, and I started paying attention to posture. Trying counts. Pausing counts. Changing your mind. Renewing your mind. Those count. Resting counts. And even noticing resistance counts. Because becoming is happening even when the path is not yet clear. So let's bring this down to something very practical. Your one last sip for today is this. Instead of asking, why am I struggling with this? Try asking, how can I? How can I take one step forward today? How can I gather information without deciding everything? How can I respond with curiosity instead of judgment? You're not fixing yourself or someone else. You're practicing wisdom. If this stirred something for you, there are 2 grounded ways that you can go deeper. The first is the Calm Guide. It helps you slow your thoughts and steady your body when things feel loud. And if you want to stay connected, the Cup of Hope community is a free space where we talk about these ideas and remind each other that we don't have to do life alone. You will find both links in the show notes. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining me today on A Cup of Hope. If this episode encouraged you, would you share it with a friend and subscribe so you never miss an episode? You'll find today's resources and next steps in the show notes. Until next time, I'm Sherry Lynn, and I want you to remember this. Hope is always available, and your next step matters, because God can take the broken pieces of your story and create something more beautiful than you could ever imagine.